RBS Business Research Academy welcomes to you in the lecture number 42. In this lecture number 42, I have started a series of the lectures on the understanding higher order construct in SmartPLS-4. Dear researchers, nowadays our researchers they are using a very complex models and where there is a need of the adding a higher order construct in order to reduce the complexity of the models. So that's why it is very important to understand the concept of the higher order construct in the SmartPLS-4. So in this series, so now this is the first conceptual lecture on the HOC higher order construct in SmartPLS-4. In this lecture, I have discussed the concept of the HOC and the LOC, lower order construct, and the difference between these two terms through the some of the graphs, some of the like the models which I have shown in my lecture. Along with this one, I have also discussed about the somehow the difference between the reflective and the formative construct, because we talk about the higher order or the lower order, we use constructs over there. So there are two types of the construct, low reflective and the formative. Some of the I have provided the detail about the difference between these two, like the reflective and the formative constructs. And at the end, I have we discuss about some of the benefits if you are using the higher order constructs. So now let's start about this first video of the series, and this is going to be the complete theoretical video. So now let's start this video, but before this one, my name is Dr. Rahimbak Somro and I'm working as a professor at the Shabati University, Pakistan. So now this is my certificate which was awarded to me from the PLS Academy, Germany. So now before going ahead in this in this video, I would like to introduce a very important and significant research paper. So because whatever I have developed, these PPTs are lectures, theoretical lectures. I've referred this wonderful research content. So now its name is how to specify, estimate, validate hierarchical constructs in the PLS-SEM. So a very famous professors of the SmartPLS-4, they have written this wonderful research paper. So it is available free of the cost at the ResearchGate. So here, this is the link from ResearchGate, from where free of the cost, if you are interested in this wonderful paper, if you want to download it or if you want to read it online, then the free of the cost, this research paper is available through this link. Just you are required to press this button and the whole article will be downloaded in your hard drive, and then you can use it, read it in your free time. Okay, so a little concept which I want to provide you about the higher order constructs. First of all, there are the four types of the constructs are there. The first one is the reflective, formative, and the formative, reflective, and the formative. So these four types of the constructs now, that means higher order constructs are there. So in this one, first, if you go, just we are understanding this one. These are our items. So now these three items, they are measuring basically this LOC1. The three, they are measuring LOC2, and the last three from 7 to 9, they are measuring the LOC, and it means the lower order constructs. So now there are the three lower order constructs, and then this is the higher order constructs. So this is a difference between these two one. So now if you go on another one, so here the same thing is you're looking that the three higher order construct and the one higher order construct is there. So just a little thing which I want to say, that means that the reflective. So reflective, that means that if you see if you go and see this one, this is an arrow which is coming out from this latent variable to its indicator. So now this latent variable and then another latent variable is higher. Now here arrow is going from this latent variable and ends it in the this latent variable. So now this arrow shows that the reflection. So now these three LOC 1 to 3, they are reflection of the HOC. So this is the first difference between the reflective. These are the reflective, okay, and the format is what. So you are looking here. This arrow is coming from its item. This is our item to its latent variable. So now this one is a formatively measured latent variable, and then again you're looking just opposite to the reflective, is coming from the LOC1 and ends at the HOC. So now these three are formatively measured latent variable, and this is also a formative latent variable. So normally we have these four set of the constructs in our research. Now, again, you're looking here. These are the three sub dimensions, and all these are their items. So now the number first sub dimension attitude is being measured through these all items, and these are our formatively measured latent variable, because the arrow is coming from the item to its sub-dimension. So now we can say that this one is a formatively measured dimension, and this one is a formatively measured latent variable, because again the arrow is coming from the attitude to its the higher order construct. So these three are our low order constructs. Attitude, subject norms, and BBC are the LOC lower order construct, and this intention is basically the higher order construct. So now you look here. So these three indicators, arrows, they are pointing towards the our dependent variable. So now all these are our formatively measured reflective formative measured construct, or we can say the formative constructs. So now if we talk about the higher order constructs, higher order construct is known as hierarchical component model. So this concept was given in the 1989, and basically they wanted to measure the abstract dimensions. Let me say any dimension which is highly abstract. So now directly we cannot measure that dimension. In order to measure the dimension, we need some of the items, some of the sub dimensions to measure this highly abstract dimension. So now referred as so first they are referring as the higher order component, and then others are referring as the sub components or sub dimensions are referring as the lower order components. So now, for example, so here stratification is our abstract dimension. So now it's very interesting, because directly we cannot measure the stratification, because indirectly we have to measure. In order to measure the stratification, we have to develop different sub dimensions. You are looking here stratification with the price, certification with the service quality, certification with the personnel, and certification with the self-escape. All are our first order construct or lower order construct, or we can say these are the sub dimensions of the overall certification. That means if you want to measure the overall certification, then we have to measure all these four sub dimensions. So now this is our higher order second order construct. And then if you go ahead, so now higher order constructs are reduced the number of the path model in the relationship. So they hence through this one you can achieve the parsimony. So now if we talk about the higher order construct, reduce the number of the path. Now what is path? So this is the path. Now this one is start from the white one in. This is one path. So now here basically there are the 9 arrows are there. All these 9 arrows are there. So that means there are the 9 paths. So here, but now here in this one, this is a complex model, because there is no any higher order construct which is involved in this. This is a complex model. But if we talk about this one, here we have added the higher order construct. So now when after adding hierarchical component model or higher order construct, now see that the number of the path has been reduced. So earlier there were the 9 paths, but now there are only 3 paths are there. So that from this point of view, it is clear that the number of the path in the model or number of relationships have been decreased, and the model has become easier to understand now. And then instead of the specific relationship between the multiple independent variable dependent constructs, now here we are creating the relationship between the this one, the first IV and the DV, second IV and DV. In this way, multiple relationships are there. So in order to reduce this one, we have to use the higher order construct. So this was the application of the higher order construct. Then the researcher summarized the independent construct is a higher order construct. Okay, so normally our independent variable is a higher order construct, and then making the relationship from that then lower order, and then we are creating the relationship between the higher order construct like the IV and the DV. Higher order construct also help to overcome the bandwidth and fidelity dilemma. So now Now, what is the difference in the bandwidth and fidelity? I'm discussing in the next slide. So now, according to which there is a trade-off, the balance between the variety of the information or the bandwidth, and then the thoroughness of the testing to obtain the more certain information is the fidelity. So now, basically, this hierarchical construct creates a trade-off, a balance between the bandwidth dilemma, and fidelity dilemma. So this is another application of the higher outer construct. Now, typically, what is bandwidth? Bandwidth is used as synonym of the complexity and the variability. So now, nowadays, this our model are much more complex. Dependent variable, independent variable, mediator, moderator. So many there is a path are there. So that's why our models have become so much complex. So that's why the bandwidth has been increased, and so many different variables are over there. So that's why the variability is also much more in any complex model in the SmartPLS. So that's why the band is a very much important issue in the SmartPLS, and that's why another is the fidelity, synonym of the accuracy and the specificity. That means how much you are accurate. That is talks about the fidelity, and how much you are specific. That means you are attached with certain like we can say the dimensions. So that's why the bandwidth and fidelity both are very important. So how much you are accurate, that's talk about the fidelity. So now, for example, what's happened, sometimes we have to compromise on the bandwidth in order to achieve the fidelity, and sometimes we have to compromise on the fidelity in order to achieve the bandwidth. So now basically now here the basic job of the HOC is to create the trade-off between the bandwidth and fidelity. In this way, we should not compromise either on the bandwidth or either on the fidelity. So that is another basic job of the HOC, higher order construct. And then finally, higher order construct provide the means for reducing the collinearity. Dear friends, collinearity in the among the formative indicates a big issue. So now, higher order construct can also help you to reduce the collinearity among the formative, and then by offering vehicle to rearrange the indicators or construct across the different concrete subdimensions. So here you can rearrange the different dimensions or different construct from here to here, is we can be able to reduce the collinearity from our model. And then now maybe somewhat we have talked about the reflective and the formative. So now what is actually difference between the reflective and the formative construct? Here one slide is there. So reflective constructs, basically they are talking about the unidimensionality. They are talking about the only one dimension in the whole construct. So that's why the statements are measuring the same thing one dimension. So that's why we call them as statements are reflection of the construct. So now when they are talking about when they are measuring only one dimension, it means their statements are reflected, or they are somehow near, they means same to each other. That means in this one, basically we are asking about the one dimension in the different words or in the different ways. Formative, they are measuring the many dimensions at one time. The difference between these two ones. Reflective, they are measuring the single dimension, unidimensionality is there. In case of the formative, there is a multidimensionality in our construct. So that's why we are not support that there is any correlation. So here in this one, we support there is a higher correlation among the reflective. So now if you want to know more about the exact difference between reflective and the formative, then these two videos are available. If you feel easy, and if you have a sufficient time, then you can go through on my YouTube channel and watch these two videos. Okay, so reflective construct, basically you will find always high Cronbach alpha. Whenever there is a high Cronbach alpha, it is a more than 0.7. So now you should be somehow you should be sure that this construct is a reflective construct, because there is a high correlation, there is a high Cronbach alpha. Cronbach alpha, basically it measures the internal consistency among the items. So it measures how up to what level the respondent has remained consistent in answering all the items. For example, reflective measurement model. In the reflective measurement model, I'm asking about the hotel. So this is our dependent variable. So first one is I appreciate this hotel. If you appreciate, what will happen? I'm asking another question. I'm looking forward to stay in this hotel. So now what will, if you are appreciating, so logically you should say yes, I want to. I'm looking forward. That means I'm ready to stay in this hotel next time. Or if you are even have a same, let me say positive, right? Then you will be also logically be ready to recommend this hotel to your friend or to others. That means if you go through all these three items, they are talking about only one dimension. The dimension is about the hotel. So another one is a formative. So now, okay. So in the formative, you will find low VIF, variance inflation factor. Okay, so now if we talk about this one, then you are looking here the good service is good, personnel is friendly, and the room are clean. So that means in the formative, basically multi dimensions, in different dimensions we are going to measure. So that's why you look. That means the pointation of arrow is coming from the independent variable to the dependent variable. This another, and then you are saying that they are reflecting. All these reflecting. So there's a difference between the reflective and the formative measurement models. What are the benefits of the HOCs? Earlier, I talked about the applications of the HOCs. What are the benefits of this one? Hierarchical construct conceptualization and specification needs the well developed. So whenever you are putting any like the construct is a higher order construct, then you should have some theoretical like the reasons. So our well developed measurement theory should be there behind this one. Why you are the justification, we can say reasons whenever you are selecting any construct as a higher order construct. So now this is somehow a very challenging like you when you are creating a new scale. So now it's not an easy, it's somehow challenging. Specifically, when implementing higher order construct, the researcher have to decide two things: the measurement model. Now, there are the two of the models are the measurement model and the structural model. In the measurement model, what we do, we measure the validity and the reliability of any construct. So now we have to decide, we have to measurement model specification of the lower order components and then the relationship between the higher order components and its lower order components. So now both one we have to do. So it means in the first step, we have to measure the model with the help of the through its reliability and the validity, and then again we have to check the relationship between the higher order construct and the lower order construct, of which can be either the formative or the reflective. Okay, I have repeated the same thing. Okay, here. No, okay. So as a result, research has proposed the four type of the higher order constructs. So now, after measuring the measurement model and after creating the relationship among the higher order and the lower order components, basically we have the four type of the relationships in our model. So what are the relationship? The first one is the reflective, formative, reflective, and the formative and formative. So now earlier we have talked about this one, the reflective, formative, reflective, and the formative and formative. So these are the four type of relationships will emerge. Anyone can emerge when you are creating relationship between the higher order and the lower order constructs. So now the main thing is the evolution of the measurement model. So now what happens is some author they do not assess the reliability and the validity of the lower order components and the higher order. So now at each stage we have to measure the validity and the reliability. That means we have to apply the measurement tools on this one. We have to measure. So now either we are working on the lower order or either we are working on the after adding the higher order construct with our lower order construct, we have to measure again the reliability and the validity. So others researchers incorrectly interpret the relationship higher order components and the structural model components. So sometimes that means their relationship is also incorrect. How? They means that if the construct is a formative, you are making it in reflective. If it is reflective, then you are getting relationship like the formative. So now here we can make a mistake somehow over there. Instead of assessing lower order components as elements of the higher order components. So there's a problem is there. Another is a researcher frequently analyze the discriminant validity of the lower order constructs and they do not neglect the discriminability of the higher order construct as a whole. So now at each stage, whatever the like the tools are there which we have to apply. Normally, whenever we analyze any model without our higher order, so first we measure the measurement mode like the AVE, CR, and then the Cronba alpha, and then their loading. So all these things which are these we are measuring before applying the structural model, or before assessing, or before applying any bootstrapping algorithm on our model. So normally we check all these things in that either in order to become sure that about regarding the reliability and the validity. So at the end, this here the part one of this series has been added over. If you are interested in watching the part two of this series, then my channel is available where you will find the this like the part two of this lecture series on my RBS Business Research Academy. Thank you very much for watching this whole video. If you like this video, then please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends, and please also leave the comment on my side.